Hey guys, welcome to episode number 2 of the live SEO Q&A with James Gregory here.
Hi guys, thanks for having me back on again, Charles, for the second half of our Q&A.
Yeah, it's been the first one went really well, and we had a lot of great feedback from that one, so thought we'd do another one yet again. Unfortunately, I managed to drop my phone in the bath last night, which basically means that I'm going to have to use a laptop here for this basically Q&A version of this event. So yeah, any updates since like a week now?
Yeah, well, thank you for all the great feedback on the infographic strategy. You guys asked about my actual tutorial for that. Well, Neil Patel's done a really nice post for you guys to get started, which then I'll dissect and add my further insights on how to go ahead and scale it with the stuff I talked about last week. And generally, we've just had loads more questions, which we'll go through and see what happens.
I think realistically, we're going to have to do an episode number 3 of this because, like, we only managed to get around 15 or so questions onto this out of about 40 you guys asked in this, and as well as we always have the live chat questions as well. Though obviously, it is a lot more of a priority to ask the questions that people asked in the group before we go on to the live chat questions. So hopefully we can get round to that, and hopefully we can do another event soon, because this one seems to be not having enough time to basically answer the questions. But without any further ado, let's kind of just jump into it. So the first question that we have comes from a user from the group called Jamie Samby, and it is a 2-part question, or should I say maybe even 3-part question. And he asked, hey guys, and this is the first question, where and how can beginners with a little investment get the best money content for the lowest price? Any secret hacks out there, James?
My biggest hack for content would be investing in Grammarly Pro, which is literally £100 for the year. And it's ridiculous because what it does is you can paste low quality articles, say a Philippine quality article for $5, 500 words, that kind of quality, or even cheaper, I've seen some people get. And it basically goes through and spell checks every single thing for you and gives you suggested improvements and suggested words for it to be grammatically correct. So by investing in that, you can literally put in rubbish, cheap content and then have a higher quality English VA, for example. You spend 5 minutes clicking and proofreading. So Grammarly Pro is a must, and then just generally finding high quality VAs that can produce sound English, and then obviously running it through Grammarly. I'd say that's my biggest hack. In terms of getting it for the lowest price, because you're getting it for the lowest price, but then you're improving the quality by using Grammarly. I think there's a big disconnect of getting really high quality English content for a really cheap price, because realistically, people who speak, read and write English, their living expenses in that country are much higher. So it's unrealistic to expect really cheap content. I don't know about you, Charles.
As kind of, well, Grammarly is a really good tool. I use it as well, actually, and I use their browser extension, which kind of shows me because their browser extension, which means that I can actually, when I'm editing live WordPress documents and things, it can show me that kind of stuff, and that kind of helps quite a lot considering I'm dyslexic. Anyway, and also there's another kind of hack around that as well. A lot of people have been doing scholarship link building recently, and what you can actually do is offer a English scholarship language kind of program for $1,000. And I recently did one with a client, and we had 160 entries of people submitting over 1,000 words per person for $1,000. So you have 160,000 word articles of like English student level content for people who are studying English at like American universities, as well as also getting all the scholarship backlinks from all the university sites as well. So it kind of is killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. And number 2 as well from Jamie as well, it says content seems to be getting out of hand now. If the number 1 SERP has 5,000 words, we would need to write 6,000 words. Looking 2 years in the future, this becomes unmanageable, and also very, very user friendly. Is a 10,000 word post become the norm? What do you think?
I've got 2 opinions on this. People say that you have to have more content than the guy below you, but that's just one ranking factor. And if you have higher quality content, you run it through Grammarly, it reads exactly what this person's searching for, so it offers value to the user. There's a good chance that yours is going to rank higher than the longer form content. Whereas some people assume that you can just do 6,000 words that doesn't make sense at all, just sidestepping around the subject. We've had some really fun examples in the group around this topic, about people going on to say how a certain product was, you know, introduced into the market and stuff, when really you just want the best reviews on that product.
Yeah.
So I think you need to focus on the user and just meet in the middle and average. So the top 10, again, average of who the content, of what the content length is, and then simply build to that average, with your focus being how can I provide the most value for that specific term, and make it nice and easy to read, easy to digest. Because obviously internet content, you don't want it to be really like gibberish. And then what you said before in your course about using a table of contents plugin.
Yeah, formatted data.
Yeah, use formatted data and actually break it up to where you can actually target more long tail phrases. That's relevant to that query, so you're not just writing gibberish. So I think it's a little bit meat in the middle. Don't start making these crazy long posts, and don't make just a, you know, really brief post. So it's kind of meat in the middle.
I think it's kind of obviously if you go into a niche and you see the #1 page has 800 words, and it's very easy to just outscale that person straight away.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you go into a niche and you're going versus some 10,000 word university dissertation kind of degree level content, then obviously you just want to basically make your on page better. So like you said with table content plus any kind of formatted data, so like alt tags on images and like just basically making your on page significantly better than your competitors. You don't necessarily need to, you know, completely outscale them by thousands.
So rather than focusing on content length, you can go ahead and actually look at other aspects of your on page, and then, you know, things like your page title, your H1s, your H2s, table of contents plugin.
So rich media, like YouTube videos as well.
Yeah,
like that.
Rich media. So by focusing on those, you don't have to really start doing these gibberish 10,000 word posts.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can make your site better. And use the other SEO factors, get some high quality links, get link volume in the mix. So
you kind of have to make sure you're analysing this properly before you kind of just try and jump in head first.
Yeah, but I think writing it for the user and not writing gibberish is probably the best way to go on that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so the next question comes from Josephine Anderson. You're doing a review affiliate site. Is it better to focus down on one niche and cover everything around that niche, or create a review site that just reviews everything, not just one niche, like the wirecutter.com, bestreviews.com, bestproducts.com, etc.? So basically, is it better to go for a really niche specific website and become an authority in that niche, or is it better to try and be an overall authority, something like Wikipedia, for example?
Yeah, I think we spoke about this briefly last week, where we basically said the best thing to do is to choose a specific product category, if you will, where you can do lots of review pages around that specific activity. If it's hunting, for example, so do a website about hunting rather than trying to do a massive authority website, because when it comes to link building and when it comes to actually ranking the thing, you just spread way too thin on content and on backlinks that you can't really get those rankings to actually make money. Like if you're going to go for one of these bestreviews.com websites or Wirecutter websites, you're going to need like 200k on content, 200k on backlinks to even compete. So I think it's meeting in the middle. Don't niche down to an EMD or single product, but make an authority in that specific hobby or industry that you're interested in.
And all of those three websites are actually owned by corporations as well. Like, I think bestproducts.com is owned by Cosmo or something, you know, the magazine company.
Yeah.
So obviously they have the budget and they have probably the links in place already, because they own all these different kinds of websites that they can easily just link back, which is actually something Glenn from lifeshield.com kind of ousted them for using a lot of their magazines.
Yeah, I remember that post. That was really interesting.
Okay, so the next question comes from Conrad Razal. When doing infographic outreach, does having the same content, infographic and intro with link back to your site have a detrimental effect because the content isn't unique on each target site? Or doesn't it matter, the link counts anyway?
I think if you're going to write something alongside the infographic, like I spoke about earlier, about how each email I changed around the code, that's probably the best way to do it. But realistically, that form of link building is sharing an image, and it does carry weight in the backlink. Obviously, it would be better if it was a 500, 2,000 word article back to your website, but infographics still do carry some weight, and you can leverage the relevance a little bit by putting that embed code in there and maybe putting 100 to 200 words. The trouble with trying to jam articles into that is someone's going to look at this code and be like, what the hell? They're trying to paste all this content here, where it's really a more sneaky tactic where here's the infographic. If you want to check out the website that provided the infographic, here's the link. You're doing it from more that approach. And, you know, if you're getting loads of these, that's a very legitimate form of link building. You do get good SEO value from it. So to answer your question, the links do still count, comrade. Yeah,
I think actually, I think you should kind of mix up as well. So you try and diversify when you're actually linking. So, for example, if you're doing what you said about the different anchor text underneath the image, I think sometimes you should actually just use the image as a link as well.
Yeah.
And then you can also use the image title as the anchor text. So you can change up the image title so that when you're sending it out, it's all different kinds of embeds.
And I think with any kind of scalable link building, you have to be careful, because you can go out there and get 200 infographic links, but your link profile is literally just infographic links. So I think having some kind of diversity and using these tactics alongside other tactics is a must, instead of just focusing down, because you get people nowadays that just try and rank with only PBNs, which might work now, but in the future it might not work. So
screw it over, to be honest. Okay, the next question comes from Carl Dummin, who basically asks, how do you go about securing WordPress sites? Which is probably actually something that a lot of people are quite interested in, and I have actually seen like quite a rise
in questions. In the group, people asking a lot of questions. I think the most secure thing you can do, which will get rid of 90% of WordPress sites, is to change your WP login URL, which you can with a free plugin, and you literally change the URL to something else, and then when those automated spammers come and try and denial of service attack you, they can't even access your login page. So that's probably the #1 tip you can do, which people overlook. People think just install WordFence, but changing your login, all the security plugins, and it could be going deeper and actually ensuring using a secure host.
That's what I was going to say. I use WP Engine, and as soon as you upload like a vulnerable plugin, or if you don't update a plugin that's vulnerable, they'll either just straight delete it, or they'll email you saying that they've deleted this plugin, or they will email you and say, look, your plugin.
So that's actually a great tip if you guys are using. Obviously, we're all using WordPress. To go with a host that actively monitors your website and ensures that it's not getting hacked, because too many times people make these websites, they'll scale them out, they'll make loads of money, and then they'll wonder why suddenly it's being hacked and they neglect it. So if you have your hosting company actually monitoring your website, that's a great tip.
It's a bit more expensive to use WP Engine, but I think they're probably like the best WordPress host on the planet right now, to be honest. The next question, comes from Xandar de Great, which is probably one of the most amazing names I've ever heard. It sounds like something out of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's an awesome name. Hi guys, how about you comment about the basically Matt Diggity released a post about expired domains. And he basically said that you should wait. He basically said that you should wait 36 days between getting a PBN live in an expired domain and then linking out to one of your money sites, because he saw negative results from linking out straight away. But he also saw positive results basically from waiting. And do you think you have any insights into that kind of
what I think he's really getting at, which a few people might feel, is that do expired domains still work? And it's kind of like, what do we personally feel about it? And I've always built out PBNs with 10,000 words. I've got content from the archive, pasted it all up before linking out anyway. And I think you guys should be doing this as standard. You should be aging your PBNs. You should be testing them on random websites before you use it. And the only real insights I can give is to just build your PBNs out properly to look like real sites, which you guys should have been doing. I think the days of throwing up thin websites directly for just linking.
Default WordPress themes.
I think people are still stuck in that 2012 mindset, which is amazing that only now Google are catching on to this. It just really shows how ahead of the game we are, and the fact that the group was created 2014, and we were advising since then to make PBNs properly. It's only now, 2017, that Google is literally looking at PBNs and saying, look, you're not getting SEO value, you're going to get negative SEO value if you're making this just for links.
I've actually been using a bit of a technique recently where I scrape the archive and put the archived content at the top of the site. And then underneath I put a WordPress blog, but it all just looks like one page. So you basically, so you make the site look for the first bit as the real site, and then underneath you make a blog underneath it. And that's a pretty, it seems
so if people wanted to do that, what they'd have to do is recreate the website in WordPress, redirect all the pages, and then with the pages they've set up, throw their links at the bottom. And
exactly. And then also in relation to expired domains as well, overall, I do think that expired domains have actually been getting weaker, just because it's a very easy way for Google to retarget things. If not getting weaker, then Google have been sandboxing the domains for a set amount of time, which is what Diggity is getting at. And I do think the 36-day mark may be a bit too soon, in fact, to be honest. From some of my tests, I've actually had to wait, I think you should realistically wait 2 months or so.
2 months,
wow. Yeah, well, some domains obviously work quicker, some domains work faster, but Google has to have that time to basically figure out, it has to have a set amount of time to figure out what that new site is now about.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing even if you're doing way back content, that is very, very much the same.
Yeah.
Most expired domains that you'll be picking up won't have had a site on it for at least a few weeks, up to a few months, and just registering it. It's basically Google saying it's a brand new domain. So that's why all of my PBNs recently, for the last year plus or so, have just been age domains. Like I haven't used any expired domains really.
So what that question would then bring up from the answer would be to, how do we build links for our clients if our PBNs take 2 months to kick in?
Yeah.
So, and if Xander was to ask that, I would say that you can still just buy other people's PBNs. Yeah, you can just rent PBN links.
Yeah.
And if you get an SEO client and you can actually do results for really cheap by doing simple things like buying a load of citations, doing on-page changes, and then literally just dropping, a couple dollars a month on rented PBN links, and then slowly age out your PBNs, and then month 3 you can start building links to the site.
Yeah.
Obviously after you've tested it. So I don't want people to think, PBNs don't work anymore. We're all doomed.
Yeah. PBNs are dead.
Just simply, rent links, do on-page changes, get those quick wins. There's a lot people overlook with Onpage. And I'd recommend Dignity's guide for this. I read the updated version. It's really good.
Evergreen SEO guide.
Yeah, really, really good. Just do that on your client's website, get a load of citations, rent a very few number of PBN links, and then 3 months down the line, all your PBNs are aged, you've tested them, and they're ready to go.
I do think that a lot of people actually overlook, especially in the first month. Whenever I've done client SEO, and I still do client SEO for clients now, whenever we do it, we spend like the first month analysing everything.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. So we analyse all the on-page, look for any on-page, because on-page is just time-consuming. It doesn't cost any money. And for the majority of people who are just getting started in client SEO or have just got a few clients,
it could be near instant as well, because you can just submit the pages in Webmaster Tools, and you can instantly see the changes in Google. You can refresh the rank tracker. The client will look at it the next day and be like, we've only been an SEO client for a week, and we're suddenly just shot up in the SERPs.
Because on-page generally takes a lot less amount of time than backlinks do nowadays.
Yeah, so if there's a more focus on page, then I think you guys won't worry about having to wait 2 months for links. We can rent links from other great providers in BHC PBN Marketplace, for example, and you can have great results like that. And
also, if you're actually building out PBNs as well, I want to make it clear as well that a lot of people who start doing client SEO eventually just do client SEO to build that capital so that they can move into affiliate or into their own websites.
Yeah.
I think if you're actually going to try and if you want to do that and that's your long-term plan and you're building these PBNs, don't just go for general niche PBNs. Try and get clients in the niche that you eventually want to be in. Because number one, it makes it a lot more fun when you're working on a project that you actually have some form of passion for. But number two, it makes it a hell of a lot easier down the line when you have a year-old PBN of niche relevant sites that you can then use for your own project.
And it's a much easier sell if you know the market and you know the numbers, because then you can upsell other services where you'll get actual value, especially if you're a consumer of that particular product that they offer.
Exactly, 100%. Okay, the next question comes from the infamous David Poole. He asks, hey ladies, love the game, I saw James. Have you got any top tips for local SEO, please?
Top tips for local SEO. It's funny because I did a great post on this in 2014, that's still relevant today, which literally all it says is build citations, nail your on-page, get some really good reviews, get some citations, PBN Butler I recommend, and literally, realistically, everything else that people overcomplicate things with, you don't really need to do. I still just go with the essentials, get them on the maps, and just build a few PBN links.
Yeah.
I feel as if there's a new market and niche to all these crazy extras that you need to do, like making all your images have locational EXIF data and things, which I guess could work. I personally haven't tested and went to those extremes.
I think it's just taking it too far. I understand when you're doing local SEO for something like, like lawyer in New York or something, some like massive local SEO keyword, because that's not traditional local SEO. When you're doing like plumber in a village that has 5,000 people, it doesn't really need to be.
There was one guy, and he'd actually got a digital camera. He enabled the location, and he retook every single photo on the client's website just so he'd have real locational data on his camera to put on the website.
Waste of time.
That, you know, in that time, he could have built 10 PBNs and outranked everyone. So.
I think you, again though, like I said about the last question, it's about analysis
to the basics.
as well,
stick to the basics, and then do the things. So the basics are the things that are going to provide results straight away. Then all those little things like the EXIF data and things, and all the schema markup and things.
But I still think that is more focused towards bigger local keywords. The majority of people who are ranking local websites aren't going to be going for a local keyword that has 5,000 monthly searches.
I feel as if it's almost like the IFTT thing, where you're just doing things that screams, I'm a professional SEO. We're trying to game the system. We're not a real business. We're literally just doing the most unnatural things possible on our website to try and rank higher in Google. When really Google just want to see, you know, beautiful websites that serve the user's query.
And the majority of like local websites have like, that's what I mean. That's what I was going to go on about. In the last question, I was talking a lot about analysis. And again, even if it's a $500 a month client, you need to do analysis. So many people just think, okay, I can have this set formula, and this set formula will work for every single one of my clients. Trust me, it won't work for every single one of your clients. And eventually, even if it works for the first few clients, whatever, eventually you're going to run into a client that is going to be the biggest pain in your ass you can ever imagine. Because they're just going to flip the brief when nothing works. And that's why analysis and kind of research is really important. Even like I said, even if it's $500 a month client, generally you'll be able to find a lot of quick wins for that kind of stuff that will actually save you money.
I think definitely getting you guys focused on Onpage. Just as a little side tangent, some of the people that buy links from me, literally they have the default titles on their website. They just say home. About like on their money page, it literally says home and then the client's name. So literally I say change the title, and then I send them a link and give them a few on-page changes. All of a sudden, like, wow, these links are amazing. I'm number one. When realistically, if they would have changed their title, it would have been number one. So they've been building links for months and still haven't nailed the on-page. So top tips for local SEO: master your on-page in general, and analyze the top 10 SERPs. There's really good tools out there. For example, Internet Marketing Ninjas, where you can do side-by-side analysis of websites, and you can see every single SEO element, and you can then see where you fall short and compare yourself to the top. Ensure you've got the basics nailed, and then obviously eventually go on to all the extra trimmings you can do.
And remember, even if your client site is already getting some traffic already, you can just generally, it doesn't matter about the traffic, it doesn't matter about the ranking stuff. A lot of clients will want to see the ranking, but if they're getting phone calls and they're getting emails, then they don't really care so much as long as they're getting those phone calls and emails. So just doing CRO, just doing some basic conversion optimization. I've done consultancy work with clients that have shown me websites, and these websites, the phone number isn't above the fold. They have like a tiny little
that's actually a great point. Probably one of the biggest tips for local SEO wouldn't be actually ranking it. Ranking it would be easy. It would be to get the leads in, get the phone calls going. Too many brochure websites with no clear call to actions. If you guys want to see a really good website, search Writio, Plumber Manchester Writio. If you search that and go on their website, there's literally 4 or 5 call to actions, really nice, polite, non-intrusives, and really big, nicely placed phone numbers on the website. And that's a perfect example of, you know, and that's probably one of the top tips for local SEO, really. Make sure the website is set up to actually convert into leads and phone calls, and, you know, the rest will fall into place. If the SEO is good. And
especially because it takes quite a lot for people nowadays to trust websites as well. And obviously they're going to trust the Yelps, they're going to trust the Google search, etc. They might not necessarily trust a website that doesn't have an SSL certificate. They might not necessarily trust anything like that. So doing CRO, just even basic CRO, actually can have a massive improvement on your client's site. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. We have from Jason Lauder. What's the best strategy for getting new clients? Should I go with a SEO plus city agency site? Should I invest in generating leads organically? Or should I save the money and start with Facebook / paid ads to a funnel?
I really like this question, because what he's done is he's done the most traditional ways of getting clients, you know, doing the SEO and city website, investing, generating leads organically, and then actually doing Facebook ads and paid ads to a funnel. I think an even more effective way would be to do the SEO and city agency and actually buy PPC traffic specifically looking for SEO and city to your landing page. Because realistically, if it's £1 a click and you're spending £250 to acquire a client, they could become a £1,000 client, £2,000 client. So out the gate, I think SEO and city agency and paying for that specific phrase while ranking it organically is probably one of the best ways, if you have a lot of capital, to just get a load of clients in, really.
Yeah, and to extend that as well, what you can actually do is try and get all the areas and all the zip codes for all your location and put SEO plus that, because generally all the little villages or little towns are going to be a lot cheaper on your PPC budget but obviously they're going to have a lot lower searches, but they're going to be a lot cheaper to get those clicks in than they are going to be going.
And it only takes 5 minutes to make a new landing page, change those and optimize it for the paid ads funnel. Exactly. Too many people are making these SEO city websites, just brochure websites, no clear call to action or pricing, just the most vague wording, when really, if you're going to send paid traffic or any traffic for that matter, it has to be a page where they're ready to call and start the SEO campaign, or at least raise some questions so they have a reason to call.
You can actually do a geolocation based funnel. So if you make a landing page and someone visits it from New Jersey, you can physically make that page change to where their location is based, and you can make it change to saying SEO New Jersey rather than SEO New York something. And that becomes a lot easier to then just funnel traffic.
But I do think you shouldn't really go through the trouble of making a funnel of things. I think you should focus on SEO and city website first, ranking that on the first page of Google, and then paying for that traffic on PPC and seeing how it performs, and then eventually going on with a paid ads funnel. Because I think with that funnel, it's more, are you a business and we can get you more leads and phone calls, and you don't actually mention SEO, and it's more putting them through the funnel, eventually closing them. When there's people already searching SEO agency in the city and things. So if you can capture those people first, use that as a way to get clients, and then maybe build out a funnel. But the most important thing is ranking at least on the first page for SEO, city, agency.
100%. And also, there's so many other ways. Like, be creative with how you're going to go and get leads. Go to your local chamber of commerce and offer to do a free talk on Onpage SEO. Go and do anything you can to build networks.
That's actually a great strategy.
In your friendship group as well. There's going to be a lot of people in your friendship group that will either own businesses themselves or actually be connected to people that own
businesses. Thing that I know people will struggle with and then feel a little bit shy about is how to actually find your local chamber of commerce and find local business events. And obviously being a stranger at those can be a little bit scary. But if you go to Eventbrite and you actually search for business events in your local area, you'll find trade expos where you can ask to speak at. You'll find obviously the local chamber of commerce meetings with clear invites and people to speak to. So you'll be able to actually get the proper invite to attend there. You get a nice warm welcome, get an opportunity to present. And, the success rate to which you can actually get people on board from those are really, really good. When I previously worked at White Hat SEO agency and I did a presentation, we literally were like superstars at the end, with people just bombarding us with questions, throwing money at us to sort out the websites. It was ridiculous. And a great strategy for that I learned from Cotton Grammar is to actually have a business card with your business name and say, we'll set up your social media accounts for, say, £25, £50, £100, and get you on social media in the digital age, says something along those lines. And by doing that, you'll set up their profiles for that small entry fee. And as they've already given you money and trusted that you've delivered a product, it's then very easy to say, look, do you want to try out a month's SEO with us? We really think you can benefit.
It's just psychology.
So using that as a foot in the door and then warming them up, and then, getting in contact with them after they've seen the results of you actually delivering a clear, Facebook page and things. To us it seems so trivial, a Facebook page, but to a business owner who's doesn't really know about that, and they just know they've got a website, and
especially if you get good graphics for it and everything as well, because they just most business owners won't have a single idea of how to make a cover photo that looks really good, apart from Googling cover photo in my industry.
And it's very easy for you to just get a graphic river template and just get a VA full time. So then just go and hammer out 20 of these, and you've got 20 really warm leads to then sell SEO to. So I think trade shows a very good way. Again, going to Eventbrite, looking for local events in your area, and and then speaking to those people that arrange them, so you get a really nice formal invite, and you can present there. And generally, the people at these places, they're just like you. They're business owners. They're business owners themselves. They're actually going just to get business themselves. So you can actually do a trade of services, which is always cool. And the thing is, if you acquire someone like that, they're like a hub of more clients.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They're going to refer.
So you make friends with one guy who's only £500 a month client, but he goes to lots of trade events. He has lots of contacts. He has a 300 client list, to which you've told him that if you get me a client, I'll give you £100 referral fee, 100%. Or I'll give you 10% of the client retainer.
Well, yeah, that's if you can target accountants, financial planners, business solicitors, those kind of things, they all have clients that are massively in loads of different niches and things, and that is literally the best way to kind of get referrals from people.
And some of those people might find it a bit weird if you're just giving them money, because obviously it's a little bit taboo in certain industries. But what you can say is, we'll offer you more services free of charge, just at cost, for bringing us more people, and that can also work as well. If they bring you 10 clients, you go ahead and buy them a load of PBN links, build out some really high quality placements for them.
Grow their business as well.
Yeah, and then just one last thing. I think too many people are focused on cold emailing, which is a good strategy in itself, and I do recommend doing. But you must be really specific, and you must take the time out to go out there. And if it's high-end clients specifically, make videos analyzing their websites. Take your time to learn their names. I know it's really intense, but you guys will notice a really high increase in replies if it's just them one generic email blast of hundreds of businesses. If you're taking the time out to make really tailored emails, which you can do with mail merge and still do it bulk, you can land clients that way. But again, because you've contacted them, it's a little bit harder to convert. Whereas if you were paying for that traffic for SEO sitting agency, they are literally looking for a local SEO agency. So that is a much warmer lead. And one thing I did learn from Sam Ovens' course, which is lumpy mail, and I know sending things in the post, informational things, really personalized things with funny little things like shattering teeth if you send it to a dentist. That is also a great way, and again, it's very cost effective. But I would do that around the same price as just buying for SEO sitting agency. If it costs you a couple of £pounds to post this out, that's how much it's going to cost you in a click to get this SEO client. So.
Yeah, I liked what Gabriel Mukarest, I think we'll shout him. He did a tool where basically he automated taking the second page of Google for keywords, taking a picture of the website, making an image.
Yeah, I saw that. It was automatically generated PDFs. You can generate hundreds of them.
But I thought if you could take that to one next level, you can make them into postcards and then print them out and send them automatically. Which obviously you can't send them automatically, but if you can print out postcards on double-sided paper, obviously it becomes a bit more expensive and things. But I thought you'd take that to the next level.
I think them actually having a physical product where there's something in there they can bring around the office and have a really good joke around it. If you're then to actually walk into that office again or follow up an email, follow up with a call, they'll be like, oh, you're that guy who sent us that really funny thing that everyone in the office was laughing for ages at this. It's much more, it's a much better interaction that you've actually took the time out to learn their business and interact with them and send them something. I'd stay away from sending candy or chocolate in the post. I know there's one guy, he was sending stuff in the post and he had some legal issues where someone had received a chocolate bar and obviously they thought it was some kind of like poison thing and he got in loads of trouble for that. So don't send chocolate bars or sweets in the post.
Don't get arrested by the drug enforcement agency or something. Okay, so the next question comes from Matthew Markey. Shout out to Matthew. I met you in Mexico. Actually, just on the road. What is the most affordable way to get quality pillow links? Do you have any SEO firms that you can recommend?
I think PBM Butler, their social signals, their citations, regardless of your website type, great. But I think realistically, pillow links, you need to train an actual person to interact. I know we spoke about this last week. You need to train a real person to interact and actually ask real questions in Google, what people in your industry, what they're asking, to go on and answer them and link back to your website. I think you need to actually interact with people in your industry on where they hang out, whether it's forums, question answer websites, blog posts where you can actually comment on and leave it just a branded post, a branded comment link, or whoever your website is, a link back to your website that way. I wouldn't go the route of IFTT, social bookmarks, Fiverr. Anything that can be automated, I'd stay away from. You know, for me, 2017, it's only links that can actually be created by a real human being and have some sort of legitimacy. So things like citations and social signals.
I actually know a really good company called InValley. They're a Dutch company. And they do Q&A, how to review, video, image, e-commerce, like tons of different kinds of link types. And they are quite expensive. So I think it's like $150 for 10 Q&A links. But these Q&A links are actually genuinely... they've
actually took the time out to do that. And so it'd be worth just investing in that, seeing what type of strategies they're employing, and maybe.
Well, they give examples on their site. So if you want to
sneakily look at the footprints and actually go ahead and train someone up to do that.
Yeah, that's literally what we did. Don't sue me. So I think we can go on to the next question now. This is from Ivan Hernandez. How do you know when it is too much of a link type, like age reputable knows, or when it doesn't seem natural? Do you mimic backlink profiles as the top 5, or are there any rules to solve this issue?
Well, for me personally, I don't really use aged Web 2.0s, so I would never have that issue. For stuff like PBN links, outreach links, you can never really do too many, because that's the main. I think you can do too many PBN links,
and I think you can. I think a lot of people only do PBN links. Which is where because if all of your backlinks are coming from WordPress contextual homepages, it's a bit of a signal to Google that you're probably going to...
Especially when that website only links to you and Wikipedia and YouTube, and every single post has a sidebar with like BBC News and stuff. It kind of starts to paint a picture of you, and it's so easy for them to look at. These are the smartest machine learning algorithms on the planet, powering some crazy things, sending people to the moon and things, building self-driving cars. I think they can spot what a PBN is. But for me, I think it would just be, the magic number in my head would be at least, if the PBNs are more than 50% of my link profile, I'll need to take a step back, especially if I'm building like 100 citations, 50 natural blog comments and Q&A industry links, that type of thing. If I'm suddenly building more PBNs and all of that, then there's a serious problem.
But I think you can diversify straight away at the start. So you can diversify with, like, you can build social profiles, you can build directory links, you can build comment links, all that right at the start that are either very cost effective or just very easy to build.
And that does tie in nicely with what we spoke about earlier about how do we actually rank if the PBNs aren't working for a few months, which is to obviously go out and purchase all of these and build a really nice framework so that Google sees, okay, this person just do normal natural link building that other white hat SEO agencies do because they don't know what PBNs are. And then all of a sudden you slowly start introducing PBNs, outreach links. And I'm using mainly outreach links now. And PBNs are mainly 25% of my overall strategy, because I really do think it's important that you have websites that don't have as strong websites as strong stats as large websites, to actually diversify where you're getting your links from. It kind of looks a bit weird if all your links are just from a specific type and specific size. I do recommend, small PBN sites and stuff, mixing a few links in there. And again, having a page exactly what you're trying to rank for is a really strong signal. It will always be, to be honest, if you can control what's going to be posted up. So,
well, great from that. The next question comes again from Matthew. Oh, no, sorry, this is Matthew Marley, not Matthew Markey. I always get these two confused. What's the best way to find lucrative affiliate niches?
I think the best way to find lucrative affiliate niches is to just look at your actual platform and look at the best performing products, in terms of sales, in terms of search volume. And then I know that this is interesting. What you do is you actually Google the search queries and look at how many affiliates are actually going after the phrase. This is what I learned from Matt Dickety, which is basically look at how many other SEOs are gunning for that keyword. If there's lots of SEOs gunning for it, then there's a good chance that they're making money from it. So you would want to go ahead and go for it. And the word lucrative does kind of mean if it's lucrative, other SEOs are going to be going for it anyway. So that's a very safe bet. But generally, that's such a broad question that really there's not much else apart from looking at your platform of what to promote. I guess you can start looking at what you're actually into, stuff that's expensive that would have a good payout.
What you're into is probably the best one, really. Because the entire point of from working at home online and SEO is to be like having fun. Like you don't want it. The entire point is you don't want to be sitting in a 9-to-5 office job, bored out of your mind. And that is exactly why SEO becomes a lot more fun if, like I said earlier, if you're doing things that you're genuinely interested in. And a lot of hobbies, there is a massive market out there. And generally, if it's a hobby that you have a lot of knowledge about, then it can not only mean that you'll actually probably have a lot higher conversion rate, because you're not just talking about, because you can edit articles that people have wrote and actually know about what you're talking about, in comparison to a lot of video affiliates probably in that market.
I do see that. I'll go on a website and I'll see the comment section on that post, just people slaughtering the hell out of the review, because it's so obvious that a VA has just Googled these products, just chose random products and said these ones are the best.
Or look at the Amazon bestsellers.
Yeah, and they've just done the most randomest reviews ever, and it makes no sense to someone that actually knows the product, and it just kills conversions. So if you know more about the product, that is probably the best way to find a lucrative niche. So it's more finding the best, highest performing, highest cost products in whatever you're interested in. But I've had an issue where I want to scale past my interests, because I have very specific interests. And obviously, if you want to make 25 websites and stuff, and you want to make them around a specific thing, you might not actually be interested in it. A good tip is to find someone that is interested in it, that's also a writer, and get them to write for you. But take it a step further and actually look at real Amazon reviews of each product, and look at the most helpful reviews. Amazon have already told you which is the most helpful review.
People have actually bought the product.
People who have bought the product, and other people that have agreed with that review and voted it up. So if you look at the highest rated reviews that are positive, the highest rated negative reviews, you can see correlations from people who've actually used the product. And that's a kind of little hack for you to actually enter these niches you're not interested in and still make content that's someone will actually genuinely be able to use.
And appreciate.
Yeah, because I think people just throw up these review websites and there's just gibberish on them, just specifically to get click out.
Yeah.
They make the website so bad and ugly that you don't want to stay on there for too long. You want to go straight to Amazon, which could be a good tactic. But I think for those switched on people that actually know about these products, that are going on to read a genuine review, and your website somehow ranks, they're going to be really annoyed, and they're not going to click out, and they're going to leave really bad comments, which are just...
And it's going to increase bounce rate, which is probably going to become even more of a factor in the coming years for Google.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question comes from Vimal Prakash, or Parkash. I am working on an affiliate site and build a few types of links for my homepage, then move the money page and build a few PBN links last year, and this year build expired tumblers and brand new everyone knows, and some have 1 and some have 2 and 3 articles. Spun content used related to brand for more information.
It's a very big question.
It's a pretty long
Thanks for that really easy to digest.
The real question. Google still dancing after a month, sometimes 5. Please advise. Basically, he's asking. He's been building links to this site, and they're coming from a few PBN links, a few social links, a few Tumblr links from expired Tumblrs, like I said earlier. What can you do effectively to combat the Google dance, because it's jumping all over the place from like page 3 to 4 to 5 back to 3, all that kind of stuff.
So he's actually saying that he's using spun content on these links as well.
I think he's using spun content on his brand new website.
I think the problem, Vimal, with your campaign is literally there's no variables that he can actually control and pinpoint what is causing the Google dance, what is causing the issues. He's using really low quality link building, and it's mainly spun content.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to say, all you have to do is build a couple high quality links and all of a sudden it'll be sorted out, because you might be getting hurt from using purely spun content links.
And he's using a mixture of expired and brand new Web 2.0s, so it's probably likely.
The thing is, Web 2.0s themselves aren't inherently bad, because people still use those platforms and they do genuinely link to real websites. But it's like, this is all he's done. So his link profile is really low quality, apart from a few PBN links. But he's just been building mainly expired Tumblrs and brand new Web 2.0s. And Google's really not stupid. Anything that can be scaled and done in mass, they're going to penalize you for. So to go ahead and do that and use spun content, you're kind of asking for trouble there. So the rank's going from 5th page to 3rd, but still Google dancing. Sometimes it goes to 5th page and back to 4th page. Please advise me what to do now. To be honest, if he's done all those PBN links, it's a very easy phrase. We don't know what the phrase is. He should be at least on page 2, and he should be stable. The fact that it's dancing all over the place, I automatically assume that somewhere there's some sort of penalty in the mix, and all this happening. But this website's years old.
Oh yeah.
So all that's happening is literally it's bouncing as Penguin's refreshing in and out of this, horrible penalty that he's in, and it's not I would advise to register a few fresh domains, age domain, go after the same phrase, and I guarantee they will rank higher than this spammed out domain that he has.
Yeah,
I can guarantee that.
It'll be considerably easier.
So for us to say what you're going to do now, we'll go out and try and rank for that phrase on a different domain. If you have another website, guarantee if you made a page about that query, it would rank higher than where you are. When you're dancing third, fourth, fifth, personally, from when I've tried expired domains and things, the domain is toxic.
Yeah. You can actually create. This is actually, I was speaking to Daniel Cutteridge about this.
Yeah.
And he basically has this new domain, or it's not new, it's a year and 7 months old.
Yeah.
But right at the start of this domain, he started just building some like directory links to it and that kind of stuff. And even though a lot of those links are actually removed now, he just can't rank this site at all. He's just like put some content on it. He is trying to expand the content, get some more like hyper authority links to it and stuff. But it's just created this kind of bias against this domain that Google has against it, because it's just started off so badly in its early life that it's not giving Google any kind of trust factor at all in the domain.
It's almost as if you have to just build naturally in a way. What would a natural website do? With all the initial social profiles, citations, and then slowly add in. So what I do is I would wait till month 3 to then start building the more power links while I've got a stable foundation. And it's almost as if you start going erratic with all these links and things, you're going to get sandboxed. And I've had issues where I've tried to rank a domain, no matter what I do, it just won't go past page 3.
Yeah.
Even if it's a brand new domain, and it leads me to believe that there's some sort of random ranking factor, or there's something that I must have triggered or done, some kind of filter that has just made the domain not rank.
And Google Classics is a spammy domain.
Yeah.
Or even I think that Google has got something built into its algorithm that will basically say to Google that this domain is either used by spammers or it's used by hackers or something. So it's just not a good domain.
I feel as if when the domain's okay, when it's a very steady increase. So it's not showing at all. All of a sudden it's slowly moving up, and then it just stays around 4 or 5 positions no matter what you do to it. And then as soon as you start building links, it starts slowly rising. I know it's around the page 2 mark. I think Matt Diggity has some data on this as well, where realistically, if you're building links and things and you have for a while, if it's not on there, it's pretty safe bet to say that domain is toxic and it's never going to rank. And I think,
or at least it's going to take a really big amount of investment to be able to get the trigger off of it that Google's actually.
It's like Google will audition you, take you to page 2, and see if it performs, and see what kind of link building you do as a result of it going higher. And there's like some kind of filter that just says no, and we're never going to rank you. And on those ones, I've just said, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to link build on this domain or try and rank this domain. And that's the beauty of having control over all your backlinks with PBNs and things. You can literally just switch them to a different domain. Remove the article, put a brand new article on the new website, and then all of a sudden the new domain ranks.
It's like poker. You got to hedge your bets. You got to be a gambler.
But I don't want what we're saying to put people off building websites and things, building brand new websites, because it's very rare. And in my personal experience, it's because I've bought domains from GoDaddy. I've checked SEMrush history; they actually ranked at some point. And then I've noticed when Penguin first got introduced, it just dropped off. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is why the domain is toxic. So it is worth doing a little bit of investigation, doing way back SEMrush, Majestic history, Ahrefs history, and seeing if there's any toxic links that have ever been built. And if, SEMrush is a traffic thing, as soon as Penguin came up, then it's bad.
Yeah. So the next question is from Lloyd Farrell, and he asks, I'd like to know, how do you keep your PBNs powerful? Do you continue to send links at them?
I personally try to stay away from building links to PBNs purely because the type of links that I would build to websites and PBNs in general are not scalable.
Yeah.
So I would much prefer to choose a really high quality PBN domain from the start that is not going to suffer crazy link loss. If it's got 10 referring domains and you have like 20% link loss, there's not going to be many referring domains left at the end of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's got 100 referring domains, after a couple of years, it might still have 90, might still have 80. So you have to watch your charts. Yeah, you need to keep on top of it. And the funny thing is, sometimes they've actually had domains and they've increased in backlinks. So what's happened is some of the links that they had were offline themselves, and they've come back online, and then Majestic has refreshed, and then the stats have gone up.
I think, yeah, like you said, make sure you kind of.
The only thing I would send is those, you know, those PBNs where they're cheap and they're locked down, but they're not so toxic that, you know, they could hurt your website.
Yeah.
There's a few providers, you know, people like Todd Foster, Gnomes and things, where those PBNs are relatively safe to tier 2 your outreach links and tier 2 your really high quality PBN links. But in general, we wouldn't advise you to go out there and start building links in mass.
Yeah.
I know the GSA has been mentioned a few times. People are sending like 400 naked URL links and saying that this works, even though because they're naked URL, it's not going to trigger.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's not going to work, guys. Google sees that very spammy link building practice, and you're just tainting that really nice natural backlink profile with really age trusted links with a load of automatically generated horrible spammy links that Google knows are used for spam.
Yeah, 100%.
So we would literally advise to not really link build to PBNs, and if you have to, opt for something like cheaper PBN links that are still relatively safe, and maybe things like safe links.
Yeah, maybe if the domain isn't as powerful, for example, if you have to use an expired domain and your budget isn't massive for building PBN sites and stuff, then it can be a pretty good idea to get the inner post URL and just build 2 safe links at it or something.
Yeah.
Just to make that PBN link a bit more powerful whilst not breaking the bank, because it'll only cost you $1, $2 something to build that safe link.
Yeah.
So it's
and
cost effective.
And it does work, especially if you've got like 100 PBN links. If you're just building like 2 links at each PBN, because then it works out to around 200 links. That strengthen up those. So it does work, but realistically, I would put all my efforts and focus into building a really nice tier 1.
Yeah, exactly. The PBN
directly to your website, as high quality as possible, using outreach links, using PBN links, and focus on those. Don't focus on how you can make your existing assets more powerful, because if you start going into IFTT networks and press releases, all this spam, you're just ruining a really nice link profile that Google loves.
Yeah.
Why even ruin your PBN domains? If PBN domains are made for the SEO benefit, and you should be in niches where the ROI is okay for you to just let that go in a couple of years when it's got like no links, and then to just replace it with a more powerful one.
Churn and burn PBNs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have actually been trying to prepare to say this name now. This was the most liked comment. So this most liked question out of all of them. Santiago Patricio Tafanel. I hope I got that right, because that has taken me a while to try and figure that one out. How many backlinks do you make from each PBN site? So basically, what is the what is the maximum amount of OBL? So what's the maximum amount of outbound links from each one of your PBNs you use?
I would say I can go all the way up to 20, in the sense that maybe 8 of them would actually be my websites I'm targeting, and then there's actually more random links. And when I say authority links, everyone just searches their industry in Wikipedia, and they're just linking to Wikipedia on every single PBN. Why not just search site.edu and then find an actual really high quality educate.edu post specifically about what you're talking about in the post, and link to it properly, so at least it actually makes sense and you're actually sending it to a educational body around what you're trying to rank for. Don't just start sending stuff at Wikipedia with a YouTube embed video, some random dude standing there. Like, I've seen some plumbing posts where they literally have like 6 YouTube videos on guys on how to fix sinks, and it's literally the same PBN post, how to install a radiator pipe, how to fix sinks, just like 20 times with the same YouTube videos on each one, and it's like, whoa. Like,
it's a footprint and a half.
There's other ways of generating good content for your PBNs. Ahrefs Content Explorer. You can go ahead, search industry, and sort by date. You can find really highly shared posts of what people are talking about in the industry, and go ahead and get those reworded and post stuff like that on your PBNs. And then you'll notice that you start getting traffic as well, and you actually rank your PBNs because it's real content. It's not just the same article on how to install a radiator pipe 20 times because they decided to spin it. Ridiculous.
I know. Okay, so the next question comes from Robert Kirk. He asks, what do you class as being your top 3 most important on-page factors to consider in 2013? And what would be what would be the first thing you would check if your website gets stuck at a position, say the top of page 2, so like number 11?
The top 3 on-page factors, but there's quite a lot of on-page factors that we need to actually look at. The top 3 on-page factors that actually have SEO weight are things like the page title, the H1s. You know,
I think it'd probably be page title, content, and URL. So that's the main.
Yeah. So what you guys are actually naming your pages and your domains. I try and stick to short URLs. Generally, whichever is easier for someone to share or remember and that type of thing. There's people out there that are jamming all these different long tail variations of their target phrase in their URL, changing it on the page title, and then changing it on page as well. I wouldn't go through all that trouble of making really long URLs, but I do think you can do the title, and then you can include some more things actually on the H1s and H2s and target it that way. But realistically, get Matt Diggity's Evergreen SEO guide and go through all of those rather than just saying what are the top 3 factors. On page is much more than just doing a few title changes. I think if you really nail it right, all these little tiny factors in the grand scheme of things add up, and you get a little bit of SEO benefit.
It's just literally trying to analyze the whole page rather than just looking for the top 3 things that you can get. Obviously, by doing that analysis, you'll likely get the quick wins that you can just do straight away and get some.
So when he says what you're doing when you're at the top of page 2, I would literally run my website through Internet Marketing Ninja side-by-side comparison versus everybody, and then I'd go on Matt Diggity's Evergreen on-site guide, go through all of those factors, and then just submit my website in Webmaster Tools. And then after about 20 minutes, I would do site, my page, and then look at the cache version. So I'd search for site on my actual page, look at the cache version, and see if it's updated in Google. And then if it has updated, I would then refresh my rank tracker and see if those changes have reflected, and you should get a good increase.
It's probably a pretty good idea. As well as just doing, it's just all about analysis, really. We've said this episode is probably going to be named analysis.
Side-by-side analysis of website using countless tools out there. Internet Marketing Ninja's one is amazing. And you can take it a step further and actually plug your competitors' URLs in Ahrefs, Keywords Explorer, and SEMrush, and have a look at all the keywords to which your competitors rank for, but they don't actively target. And then on page, you can include it in the H2 or whatever, and that will give you some good ideas how you can improve your on page a little bit there. Just thought I'd throw that nice tip in there for everybody.
Expand on the extra. Ben Doyle asks, firstly, your link service is epic, James. So there
Thank you guys. There's a big sale for June. Email me, but buy my shit.
Number 1, we'll show the first one. Have you ever approached a company for an affiliate deal when they haven't actually had an affiliate program in the first place?
I've never personally done that, but I know that it's possible, especially with platforms like OpenCart and the other free, Magento and stuff. They have built-in plugins that actually do affiliate programs. So when you're approaching these companies, if they say, "Oh no, we're just a little outfit," their e-commerce system does have options to do that. So if you actually contact them, educate them on that, maybe even send them a resource because you can see what their shop is hosted on. You can approach them and you can actually say, "This is how you do it, and this is how I'd be able to promote your products."
I actually have done it once, but I didn't actually reach out to them. They reached out to me, and I kind of figured out a workaround with it. Basically, they reached out to me saying that we have this amazing product that is a lot better than the current product on your top 10 list. But unfortunately, we don't have the infrastructure in place to track the links, etc.
And obviously with most shopping cart systems, even the open source ones, the free ones, they have affiliate plugins as standard. What I did in this specific case is I did some analysis. Basically, I looked at the CPC of the keyword that I was ranking for, and I looked at the average CPC of about 50 different keywords that I'm actually ranking for. I averaged out the cost per click. I then looked at the traffic stats per month for how much traffic each of my keywords was. I then looked at how much traffic the number 1 product that I had in my top 10 list was actually getting, and I think it was getting like 980 visits a month or something. I think 980 unique visits a month. Oh wow!
It was pretty good for number 1. So I got about 980 uniques a month, and I think the cost per click on it was like $2.37. So what I did was I said, okay, round that down to $2, and I'll just sell you each link click as $2 and then just invoice you at the end of the month. And actually that worked out that I was getting a lot better money from doing that deal than I was just getting the commission, because the
wow.
Yeah, so it was a lot better to just do that.
Yeah, so in that instance, even if the traffic doesn't convert, you're still getting credited for sending them.
Exactly.
So it's
you're basically doing what Google are doing with CPC, but you're undercutting Google.
And the cool thing about that is you can actually give them tips to increase their conversion rates as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's more incentive on them to make a really good landing page that will actually convert.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
So otherwise, they're going to be wasting your traffic if they don't improve, which you could be sending it elsewhere. You can say, look, I'm getting much better conversions off a different product. I recommend you guys, try and go for this angle. So this could be a really nice win-win scenario going direct there.
Yeah, 100%. There are 2 questions here from Brett Ehlert. I think it's Ehlert. The first one is, any tips on increasing conversions on high-ticket items like appliances or furniture? So basically, any CRO tips for high-ticket items?
Use orange buttons. Isn't that banned by Amazon's terms of service? Don't use orange buttons. I think in general, if someone was to buy that particular item, they're going to be spending a lot of money on it. So really high quality imagery, specific reviews from someone who's acquired the product before, invest in really good content from someone who actually knows about sofas and high ticket. What was it? High ticket
appliances.
Appliances.
Sofas and couches for US-based folks.
Yeah, sofas and couches. Realistically, that would be probably the only tips. It's just like any other product, really. If you can provide a real clear USPs on why they would buy that particular product, and you can educate them in a transparent way, and it's authentic in which you've displayed the content that you're someone that's actually used it before, that is the best way.
And A to B tests everything, and heat maps as well. Heat maps and A to B tests everything you do. So you'd be very surprised how better conversions you'll get from putting a centered buy now button to like the right or to the left.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Heat maps are really cool. What would you recommend?
I literally just use the heat maps for the plugin for WordPress.
I use Clicky.
Yeah, Clicky's actually really
Clicky is one of my favorite.
Clicky Pro is only like $9.
Yeah. It's a shame because I really started off in Clicky, and since I've been working on my own a couple of years, I don't have the analytics experience that I remember. I just have Clicky experience because I've stopped using analytics, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah,
generally, actually, you should check out. I actually gave a shout out to him in the group today, Kurt Phillips on Diggity Marketing's blog. If you just search diggitymarketing.com and Kurt Phillips, it'll come up with the beginner's guide to CRO for SEOs. And that is a really, really
so that would be step by step.
Yeah, literally. He shows you even like how to use tools and what tools to use and everything. And then as well as just like different kind of psychology about the kind of wording that you use and stuff. Okay, so Brett's next question was, would love to hear about your interlinking strategies for large authority type affiliate websites, things with like 100+ posts.
See, my interlinking strategy is more how can I make it relevant on the page to exactly where else the other post would be. I wouldn't go ahead and start spamming interlinks everywhere like I see a lot of people do, and I just throw all my stuff in categories and things. I don't know if you go much deeper than that.
I just try and use generally, for example, we did a client site where they had tons of blog posts, but number one, the most annoying thing was all of their blog posts have no index. So that was just
I think the issue is when it starts getting to that size, 100+ pages, the pages risk becoming orphan pages. Yeah. So you can see where on your website you can actually link to them properly. Exactly. So that the juice can actually flow around the website.
Make sure it's at the very least, make sure it's topically relevant. Like if your site's about health and you're linking a yoga article to like a coffee fat burning article, then it's not going to be relevant at all. So just try and make sure that you're kind of doing less about interlinking and more so about creating topical bubbles. Yeah. So creating, with your money page here, you have supporting content here, supporting content here that are all linking back, and you have these individual bubbles to make sure that you're splitting the topics.
And by using categories, you can just go into the category and see everything that you can potentially link to. But I think when people start using things like SEO, smart links and stuff, you're starting to create really unnatural linking patterns where it's literally, if a certain word is mentioned, automatically linked to a certain post, which is not a good practice to do, especially if you just click deploy across 100 pages and suddenly you just unnaturally insert all these links across all your pages. That's not something you'd want to employ. No. So I think, can the user access this page realistically from from the homepage? Can they access it from key category pages? And am I risking this page becoming an orphan page, and then all of a sudden you have like 20 odd pages just randomly being de-indexed, which I've had before, where this page doesn't get external backlinks and it doesn't get any supporting links from the website. Google will just, they'll de-index it. Especially you'll see that on really old posts as well.
Like your pages.
So I think
basically
it's difficult because when you have so many pages, you are inclined to want to use auto-generating plugin because you're not going to sit there and go through everything. So it's almost as if that would be helpful if you can actually look at each one and say, am I actually going to create this link?
Yeah, so literally if you auto-generate, but you have it saying this will be where the link goes, and you can just click next.
If that is an option,
no,
then that would work.
Yeah.
But I think
there's all the developers out there.
I think if that's an option, that would work. But I really don't think it's a good idea to just press go, and all of a sudden you have really random interlinks across all your pages. And yeah, I think realistically, building proper websites where the linking pattern is natural and looks like you're going to direct someone to a relevant page.
Yeah.
If you have in mind this is supporting content for this money page, I'm really only going to direct traffic to this money page. Why the hell would you start just making some mad loop and stuff? So don't use auto-generating things, and actually use categories and strategically do it. And if you're going to auto-generate, actually look at what they're going to do before you just press go.
100%. Okay, and then the next question, and I think this is going to be the last question from the group chat. We will try and cover some live questions. I've been running for quite a bit of time now. And this is actually a two-part question. Josephine Anderson asks first, can you submit backlinks, including your PBNs, to the Google Submit tool?
So that's the really old tool.
The add URL tool.
The add URL tool. You can do. I personally only use that for external links.
Yeah.
There's been a few times I've been too lazy to log into Webmaster Tools, or if the client hasn't given me Webmaster Tools access, which some clients, they're a little bit funny about giving away, especially if it's access to their My Business account and stuff. It's quite rare, but it's really handy in that instant because you can just chuck in all your site URLs in there and they'll get recrawled that way. But generally, I throw everything and anything in there, and I abuse it across like 60 Google accounts.
So yeah, well, I do the exact same thing apart from I use Lightspeed Indexer. So all you need is like some proxies, some pro proxies, and some Google PBA accounts, and it will literally just do the submit tool. Apart from it will do it from all over the world, and it's a lot harder for Google to submit the pattern. So that's why I like Lightspeed Indexer. I actually saw I actually saw someone in the live chat asked what was the best link indexer on the out there, and I think it is Lightspeed Indexer.
Yeah.
If you use
because it uses the submit tool.
Exactly. So generally it's like instant indexing.
Yeah, I really like the submit tool. I'm kind of annoyed that everyone keeps sharing it around now, but it has been around since like 2007.
Yeah.
When I wasn't really into SEO and things, so I was just randomly a little kid making websites. I was actually Googling, how do I add my website to Google? And I've had that link for ages and always knew about it. And I've always put PBNs and things in there. And people are like, oh, how did you index it in 5 seconds? Because it's literally instant indexing.
Yeah. And the second question as well from Josephine was, are there any rules for keyword density, or should I just write it naturally?
I would look at side-by-side SEO comparison tool by Internet Marketing Ninjas and look at your website versus everyone in the top 5, top 3, top 10, and look at their keyword densities and try and get an average. But realistically, just write real content for the user. Like keyword density is such a 2001, 2003 tactic of spamming the same word.
You want to try and put your keyword at least once somewhere in the article. Yeah. But yeah, you just write for the user. Like
especially if you guys are doing really big posts, which I know you recommend in your affiliate course, which is amazing, by the way. Which is, do really nice long form posts. A little bit what we spoke about earlier, but obviously not spamming like 10,000 words. And when you're doing like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 word posts, even 10,000 word posts, if you can make them good with the table of contents, is the keywords naturally going to occur anyway. Yeah. If you're doing a post about the best fridges, I'm pretty sure fridge is going to end up in there a couple of times, especially if there's 10,000 words with about 40 different fridges you're talking about. I think the word fridge is going to be in there. So you shouldn't really overthink it. And if you're going to look at densities, look at the average for the page 1. And
really don't tell your VAs to like think about keyword density.
Don't.
Then you'll end up with like a 25% keyword density ratio. And it will just be
every other word is just randomly fridge. Fridge in caps
locks. Fridge, about fridge, this fridge.
You want to be a little careful with that.
Yeah. And then finally, the final question is Yoaf Bernstein asks, which providers can you recommend for PBN links and mainly for online reputation management that actually work as well? Because a lot of people have been posting in groups recently that they've been buying PBN links and they're just flat out not working.
Well, I think a lot of people are actually testing their PBNs before using them. People like Matt Diggity and things. Obviously, with that, for ORM, that's a bit of a disadvantage if you're having to rent them.
Yeah.
But if you're buying permanent posts, I think asking the provider, have they tested them on real websites?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't give out their URLs, so it'd be difficult to actually look at the posts, insert the link into SEMrush and see if they've actually had an increase since using whatever PBN posts they claim to have purchased. But, you know, it's hard because obviously people disclose URLs. But if you can get a provider that shows you the URLs that said that they've, you know, tested the PBNs, you'll have the best bet there. But, you know, it's kind of difficult to say. But generally, recommended PBN providers that work is going to be Matt Diggity. It's their rental, but I know Todd Foster offers one-time posts sometimes. Gnomes offers one-time posts sometimes. And anybody in BHC PBN marketplace that has a clear reputation, really good threads.
I think for one-time fee when you're doing on reputation management, Todd Foster is probably the best.
Yeah, I think Todd's is probably the most reliable because he's been around since 2014. He's, you know, he's our personal close friend that's an admin in all the groups, and he has like thousands of websites.
Yeah, I think he has like 8,000.
So you know their age, they've been around. They haven't just registered them 3 months ago and then still waiting to test them, and it's going to be Russian roulette. You're getting it off a trusted provider who's actually took the time out to build them and test them, and they've been aged for years and years.
Yeah,
and they've been tested for years.
You can pay like $80 and get like a 4-year-old domain.
Yeah,
with a PBN on it and things like that. Yeah. Okay, I think that is pretty much it for all the questions on there.
Yeah, awesome.
And we have been going for a lot of time and a little bit over it as per usual. I know there's a ton of questions in the live chat, and unfortunately, it's just we can't get to all of them. But we will hopefully do a longer segment at some point where we do maybe like a 2-hour, 3-hour one where we don't actually have any questions from the group. We just go through the live chat.
I'd really like it if we maybe brought on some case studies of some crazy stuff that's going on in the SERPs at the moment. Yeah. I've seen a few websites which could really dissect, and, you know, it'd be cool if we were both here. We just analyze.
If someone just sent us websites and we just on the spot had to analyze them, that would be quite cool.
Everybody just sent us the craziest websites you can find. I've got, you know, maybe 10, 15 case studies of real live websites that are making money right now. 100%. And, you know, we don't have to disclose URLs. We can just show all the screenshots and things, and we can go really specific on what they've done. And, you know, I think that'd be really helpful for some people just to see that all this SEO stuff really works.
It does genuinely work. Don't go to PPC, it's the dark side. Yeah. We're giving money to the evil Google Corp. But yeah, anyway, thanks once again, James, for being on the show.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun once again, and I hope you guys at home enjoyed it. If you have any kind of more suggestions, etc., once this video is live, obviously drop a comment in the comment section below if you'd like to ask any more questions in the next episode. We'll kind of figure out what the next episode is going to be about and everything. Yeah, we'll probably do a part 3 of this where we do like a final kind of all the questions, and we go a bit longer than the hour and 50 minutes that we have done before. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you have an awesome day.
Thanks for having me, Charles.
Yeah, once again, doing the show.
Pleasure.
As always, www.thepbn.community, and you can be up to date with all the latest information and be part of one of the best communities in the world for SEO.
Yeah, one of the most active SEO communities.
Yeah, I think it probably is the most active SEO community in the world. Once again, thanks for watching. It's been awesome having you guys. Peace.